Here's what happened in the 72nd edition of the Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations. Race 1, MXGP and MX2. Tony Cairoli thought he'd grab the foxhole shot. He went down and took DeSalle and Roxon with him, and it was Herlings who took over the lead. He then fell on the opening lap off his 450 KTM, handed it to the 250 rider, Jorge Prado from Spain. Paulin was in second for France. Third was the Canadian Colton Faciotti, but he got passed by Hunter Lawrence, and Faciotti got passed both by Herlings in the space of about 100 meters. A little bit further back, Tomac wasn't having a great ride. His teammate, Aaron Plessinger, was also struggling. He fell, would eventually come home in 18th. Kevin Verlanderen was riding well for the Netherlands. He got caught, though, by Tony Cairoli. Eventually, Verlanderen would go missing at the halfway point as Hunter Lawrence and Tommy Searle battled. Searle, for Great Britain, made that move to get himself into fourth. The Australian was down in fifth. Herlings put a move on Paulin and then went after Jorge Prado, the young Spanish world champion. Tried to put the move on the Dutchman, the MXGP world champion, on lap 8, but was unable to do anything about it. DeSalle cased and then threw his goggles off and almost fell from 5th position. He eventually came home in that 5th place after being caught and passed by Eli Tomac, who went by the stricken Kawasaki of Tommy Searle, who went from 4th. But it was a win for Herlings. Paulin, Prado, your top 3. Coming into race 2, which was the MXGP and MX2 riders, France, Italy, Belgium, Spain, USA were the top 5. Glenn Koldenoff took the foxhole shot as Alessandro Lupino was lucky to get away as he was dragged off his bike through the first 50 meters of that start straight area. Koldenoff led from the 53 of Prado. Another fantastic start for the MX2 rider, but there was a whole battle of MX2 stars taking up the challenge to the 450 riders. Ferrandis made his move on the Estonian rider, Harry Kulas, and then went past the Canadian, Tyler Medaglia. Mitch Evans fell as Barsha went through. Tixier came in for goggles for France. He eventually picked himself up as Anstey went down, not for the first time. The Brit was down in 26 before climbing his way back to 13th. Hunter Lawrence of Australia in the green and gold found his way past the Yamaha of Jeremy Seawer to move into 4th, and eventually the smoking KTM of Tixier's expired. He would not pick up a decent result. 32 is what France were hoping to drop. An frantic battle between the KTM 53 of Spain, Jorge Prado, Ben Watson, Hunter Lawrence, Dylan Ferrandis had the toes, or the fans on the edge of their toes, I should say. In the closing stages, though, it was Lawrence who was the rider who was in hot pursuit. He made a move on Watson. Ferrandis tipped over for France. He would eventually come home in 8th place. Hunter Lawrence then charged down the inside of Jorge Prado to get himself into 2nd with 2 laps to go. Watson would come home in 4th, but Koldenoff picked up the win. Lawrence 2nd, Prado, Watson, were your top 5. Coming into the 3rd and final race of the day, MXGP and MX Open. Australia led on 34, Belgium, Italy was 2nd and 3rd on 42 as Alessandro Lupino raced to the foxhole shot. Ken Roxon and Tony Cairoli were right in there as well, but going around the outside, the number 6 of Glenn Koldenoff for the Netherlands. Koldenoff then quickly made a move on Lupino to take over the lead, who took a quick look back to see where his teammate was as Max Nagel, the 60 of Germany, forced his way down the inside of Evans. All of a sudden, Australia were looking like they weren't going to be finishing on the podium here in the USA. Not making the best start, Jeffrey Herlings found his way past the Aussie and then went after Nagel, made the move on the 60 for Germany at the top of the hill. That put him in and around the top 5 positions. He then went after the German of Ken Roxon. Cairoli was on the charge. He too found his way past Nagel. And it was a real frantic dogfight as well, because Italy and France traded places in the overall classification by a point here and a point there. At times they were tied. Herlings moved down the inside of the number 1 of Paulin, taking points away from France. He then went after Lupino, got himself into 2nd position. Cairoli and Paulin almost touched at the top of Larocco's lead, and they traded positions on several laps as well as they fought over 4th position. Cairoli got the better of the French rider. but not for long. Cairoli made a slight mistake. Nagel went back through, but then he would make a mistake as well as Lupino got caught by Nagel. He found himself up in third place briefly. He then fell. It was a dramatic finale. Lupino had to yield as Paulin finally got himself into third place. And a vital point for France. Cairoli went by the number 9 of Max Anstey for Great Britain, but it was Koldenoff who came home with the win ahead of his teammate Jeffrey Hurlings, but it was Gauthier Paulin who came home third. That was matched by the 15th of Jordi Tixier, and France were world champions for the 5th time in a row, the 6th time in their history, and this time they do it here on US soil at RedBud in Michigan. 35 points, 37 and 41 for the Netherlands, who were without Calvin Verlanderen in race 2. He couldn't finish race 1 after an eye injury, but it was the French riders who took the top step of the podium here in the USA. Jorge Prado was best MX2 rider. He also picked up the Ricky Carmichael Young Rider Award. Glenn Koldenoff was victorious in the Open class, going 1-1. He also won the overall. And Jeffrey Hurlings was the winner of the MXGP category as well, going 1-2 in the MXGP categories.
You know, Motocross of Nations has been challenging us since the beginning. First of all, winning for the first time, then on the front of our home crown in France, then staying world champ, and again coming to USA. We've had some good riders in France, which are Romain Febvre, Marvin Musquin, which couldn't come. And right now we are coming with Dylan Ferrandis, Jordi Tixier, Gauthier Paulin, and we did it again. So we are a strong team. I really want to thank my teammate because I get a pass in the end, but it's not about me. We are a team and we win as a team and we are world champ again in America.